Venice stop cruise ship traffic in the lagoon? Venice has been a big crossroad for shipping since its foundation. Nowadays the city is at the heart of the debate. On one hand, the Italian government wants to limit large cruise ships near St. Mark's Square because of the environmental damage they cause. On the other hand, Venice Cruise Committee objects that what really pollutes are the oldest vessels, and on the contrary, cruise ship industry mean a high income. Now I give the floor to our experts.
As Venice Cruise Committee reports, the cruise ship industry brought about 536 million euros in revenue to Venice last year. Moreover, 5,000 local families are supported by the jobs guaranteed by this traffic. On Saturday, Venice records about 35,000 tourists, equal to over half of the city's population. Not only do families benefit from this industry, but also shops and hotels. As data show, one shop out of 6 and 33% of the hotels live thanks to this industry.
And what about the air pollution? Ships burn heavy fuel. When they come into Venice and they stop for several hours, they don't cut their engines because they have to keep all the restaurants, shops, etc. power. This causes dark plumes of smoke to drop over a large part of the city.
It is not true that big ships burn heavy oil when they are in the city. Their engines are shut down and there are 2 smaller boats who guide the big ships to the port. This also reduces drastically any possibility of accidents. On the other hand, vaporettos and other smaller boats pollute all year, but no one is protesting. So why did this issue of big boats, why is it relevant only now?
We have to take into account the last cruise accident, for example, Costa Concordia.
I have to consider the most important aspect, that is a problem on the city structure itself. Indeed, when big ships sail, they move a huge amount of water that pushes against the city structure and move the sand which put together the old stones. And this causes a big problem on Venice ancient buildings. When a big ship arrives in Venice, they digs into the lagoon, making it deeper and deeper, and so we know that every year the lagoon loses about 1 million of sediment, and in the end we can say that a deeper lagoon doesn't offer the same protection from the sea and the high tide.
It's not totally true that all these damages are caused by a cruise ship. It is known that Venice has been sailed for ages. Massimo Bernardo, the head of Venice Cruise Committee, says that it takes less than 10 minutes for a cruise ship to pass through the heart of Venice, thereby limiting any ecological damage. And then he concludes saying that Venice has more benefits from cruise ship industry than the damages that it causes.
Even though not all the damages are caused by the cruise ship traffic, for certain they have caused many accidents during the last years. In 2013, the ship Jolly Nero, in a maneuver to leave the port of Genoa, bumped into the control tower, where is also located the Coast Guard, causing the collapse of the structure. The tower, which was more than 50 meters, collapsed into the water, and there have been 7 victims.
Yes, there have been several accidents, but not in Venice, whose port is one of the most safe in the world. Studies have revealed that almost all accidents happen in the city canals between smaller boats, such as vaporettos. I have to remind you of the last year accident in which a tourist died in a crash between a vaporetto and a little gondola. So you have to understand that big boats are not a danger for Venice, who was a port city for ages and ages. In fact, Venice was one of the 4 ancient maritime republics of Italy.
Another worry is that when ships are stopped people who live near the deck report that their internet goes out and that they suddenly no longer get many of their TV channels.
And also the radar is bad for human health.
Finally, we can conclude saying that it's clear that we have to promote the cruise ship tourism because both families and shops benefit from it. What do you think will happen to the 5,000 families that benefit from the income of this industry, and what about the shops? We are living one of the most dramatic financial crises ever existed, so we can't afford to lose also these few opportunities of income. Then, maritime experts have also confirmed that another accident, such as the one of Costa Concordia, will never happen again and will never happen in Venice, because the depths of the canals are lined with the sediment, creating a path for the ships to follow, so it's impossible for them to deviate. Finally, the same experts have also confirmed and have stressed the idea that Venice is one of the safest ports in the world, so don't worry and let's promote the cruise ship tourism.
Well, compared to the costs, the benefits are negligible. The ships pay the port authority for the right to sail through, but the money goes to the state, not to the city of Venice. And they stay there only for a couple of hours, with the majority of tourists enjoying the view from on board. So we believe that the tourism revenue generated simply isn't worth it. Moreover, we don't have to forget the victims of that these ships have caused, and above all, the air pollution. Finally, if Venice is already a fragile city due to its foundations, the ship routes damage much more.